Good morning. All right, here we go. Happy Sunday morning to y'all. Let me get things squared away here. Okay. All right. It's time for the VC family table. Hey, Flaming Groove. Glad you're here. First one here. All right, let's get that going. Okay. All right, so yeah, here we are on the 6th of April. It's raining here today, but yesterday it was absolutely gorgeous, 75 degrees. Got some motorcycle riding in, and actually did kind of a loop. And hey, Ed, good morning. And went to some thrift stores, and as you guys know, I have a little booth down at my friend's antique shop here in town, and so I try to not expand my collection by too much. You know, I have a lot of the 74, so I'm always looking for that. But I've gotten so many records so quick that I get a lot of enjoyment from finding records to resell down at my booth, and that definitely pays for my. I've had a couple of really good months lately, and it pays for my 74s and stuff. So yesterday I picked up this Mr. Spock's Music from Outer Space, and it I got this pretty cheap, and it's like a $30 or $40 record, so I should be able to sling this pretty good. A lot of Trekkies out there, so I was excited to get that to put down in my booth. I have a square on the wall with nine spaces that you can put on the, what is it called, the Holy Moly wall? I think that's what it's called. Anyway, so that'll be going up this week before I go down. But at any rate, with no further ado, today's guest is a friend of mine. At least I think I can call him a friend. He's a fellow Pacific Northwesterner, just north of me here, and he's a record collector that I talk to. I at least converse with him almost every week, and we have a lot of the same mutual friends. It's kind of a group of us that talk together quite a bit, and I'm really happy that he's decided to come and hang out today. I think we're going to have some fun. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
You're coming in good, really good, actually. Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay. First of all, John, do we call you Dagon or do we call you John?
Whatever you want.
All right.
John's one syllable, so I guess that's easier.
Okay. Tell us how you where did you get the handle Dagon?
Uh it's not very exciting. I was reading a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft at the time, and one of the kind of elder creatures in his books is Dagon. Cthulhu, a few others, but yeah.
Cthulhu. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I picked the wrong one because Dagon is kind of like, if you look at, say, paintings or things, imaginations people have done online of him, he looks like this ugly green frog.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And I should have tried the Cthulhu one, but then you got to try to pronounce the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's spelled. You don't get Cthulhu phonetically, do you? Really?
I don't even know how to pronounce it. And I've read like every one of his.
Yeah, I have some friends who are really into H.P. Lovecraft. I've never read any of his stuff, but I kind of keep that in my back pocket. Do you enjoy him, or is it something that you look? It's more from your youth.
I enjoy it. I mean, not to be all fancy, but I usually read a lot of more like, I would say, literature, but I don't know. I like escapist stuff, and it's just sort of the time period and things like that. Like there are actually like quite a lot better writers than him back then, well, obviously, but like he even looked up to some of these guys. One of them was I think M.R. James. He's a really good kind of scary story writer, and
Okay.
Lord Dunsany, people like that. But yeah, the long answer is that's I stole it from a book. But according to Rachel, and I don't know this, maybe you do, but it's also something that is mentioned in the Bible somewhere.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it's spelled differently, but I don't even know the context. I've never
Oh,
really looked it up.
interesting. I'll have to look that up. I should know
So
that.
I'm stuck with it now. Just like my email is it's something that I made up when I was younger, and now I kind of regret.
Was there a band, H.P. Lovecraft, from the 60s? Do we know?
Might have been. I'm not
I
sure.
heard that. It wouldn't surprise me if there was.
He's a bit of a strange guy too. Like, I mean, I guess a lot of people. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this on the show, but
Sure, anything.
it turns out he's. I mean, I think it's. I'm not making excuses for the guy, but he was a little bit of a.
He was a little bit of a kook, right?
Is a bit of a racist.
Yeah. And did he live with his, like, was he kind of a shut-in a little bit?
Yeah.
Did he
Well, he had a wife. He was like pretty rabidly anti-Semitic, but his wife was Jewish. But he used to say to her, like, "Well, it doesn't matter. You're my wife." It's like,
You're my Jew, I guess.
like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up he on and off lived with his aunts and things like that. He wasn't like, you know, a big mover and shaker.
Yeah. What do you think he became more popular after his death? I mean, there's kind of a cult following, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, there's a huge cult following. Like even like people even think like things like the Necronomicon are real. Like that's something that he made that up. He made the word. But if you talk to like your average, well, including myself, like back when I was a teenager, I thought that was a real kind of sort of ancient text or something. Yeah, he had a strange life. He lived with his aunts and things like that. But yeah, I think he became popular later. Like a lot of movies. There's a few pretty good movies based on some of his stories.
Oh, really? Okay. Right on.
Anyways, sorry, we're not here to talk about.
No, we're here to talk about you, buddy.
Oh.
All right. So, where were you born? Where'd you grow up, John?
I was born in Ontario, Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay? No kidding. Do you know where Red Lake is?
Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah,
I haven't. Sorry.
No, I spent time there. So I've been down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just north of. It's probably what 2 hours north of Thunder Bay, kind of.
Yeah,
northwest. Yeah.
My geography, I actually have a pretty good grasp of geography, but when it comes to my homeland, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like especially southern Ontario, like the one thing that does bother me is Thunder Bay is like about a 20-minute drive to Minnesota.
Right.
And if you're from, I lived in Toronto a long time, but there's people like down southern Ontario, they think that you're in like Hudson's Bay or something with like bears and stuff, right?
Yeah, you know, people call Red Lake Northern Ontario, but it's not. There's a lot of miles above that to get up to, you know, Hudson Bay and area and stuff.
Well, yeah, like right now where we are basically on the 49th parallel, like Thunder Bay in that area kind of even dips below that. So we're actually like,
isn't that something? Yeah.
But you try to explain Toronto people that they're I can say that because I lived there forever.
Okay.
They're in their own little world, right?
So
like I lived there and I never went to Montreal, which is like a train trip or a bus trip.
Is what's closer to Thunder Bay, Montreal or Toronto? Toronto is, right?
Oh yeah, Toronto's about a 7-hour drive.
Okay.
Closest to me would be like the place that we always went to was Minnesota, was Duluth, which is pretty close. And then you're in Duluth Superior, which is not the greatest place, but somewhere to go.
And you want to go to a city. Yeah.
But so Duluth, I spent a lot of time in Minnesota and Michigan and Wisconsin and stuff like that. My parents actually, well, this is totally the John show. My parents were not full-time, but they were part-time musicians, but I make it sound like I'm Danny Bonaducci, but they kind of dragged me around the United States playing in like fiddle contests and like.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, I started playing when I was like 7, so I was child labor from like then on, really.
Is that right? No kidding.
And you know, when you're like that age, like probably different for you. I'm a lot older than you, but it's like I was listening to like Kiss and stuff like that, but then I had to go off and play like some 3-chord fiddle music with my parents.
Yeah.
I was
so was it like a family band kind of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them were contests. A lot of them were paid prizes and stuff. So my dad would win enough money to pay for our hotels and our trips and things like that, or maybe even more sometimes. But yeah, it was sort of like a lot of them were contests. So you'd have a different classes and different. It was mostly violin based or like Eastern East Coast fiddle music type thing.
Okay. I have
But
my cousin lives in Winnipeg, and he has a son that plays fiddle, and he got a busking license and
oh yeah,
goes down and he cleans up in downtown Winnipeg when he does that. He's like a savant almost. He's incredibly talented and does that's kind of cool. So, now you didn't move to the West Coast until you were an adult, is that right?
yeah. I moved out here in the 80s.
Okay, so you've been out for a while.
Well, and then I moved back. I moved back a few times. I was working on my master's degree at the time in geology and stuff, so I was bouncing around a bit. And then when I was working in the bush, so I didn't really care where I was living. But yeah, I moved out here first in like probably late 80s. But
Okay,
I finally moved here in 91 or 92. I think it was 92 permanently
to
downtown.
stay. What so you're not in geology anymore. What sparked your interest originally in geology?
It was relatives. It was my grandfather was into he was kind of a rock hound and stuff like that. So
Okay.
he eventually gave me his whole collection, and I got interested in it. But I mean, I'm not really an outdoors person, so I got into it for like the sciencey reasons and
Mhm.
chemistry. I mean, a lot of it. Like actually, my major was chemistry, and then
Okay.
I found I didn't quite like it. It wasn't like it was hard or easy or what. I mean, maybe it was hard, but I
Mhm.
changed over to geology the next year, and it was basically all the same courses because
Oh,
it's all
really?
chemistry or
Yeah.
inorganic chemistry. So I was like,
Yeah.
eh. But yeah, I went from that whole game kind of ended in. I mean, commodity prices dropped like crazy in the late '90s, early 2000s. Like we had a lot of gold properties and stuff. The company I worked for, and they became almost like people wouldn't maybe don't remember or realize this, but like even like gold is not a sure thing. Like we dropped a lot of stuff that was gold based properties. Everybody was looking for diamonds up north and stuff like that.
Oh, no kidding.
But in Vancouver here, all the big companies like Inco and Aranda, big US ones, Falcon Bridge, all those guys, they all left town. They didn't even have offices down in Vancouver. They just like left. So
Ferris Bueller said that if you stick a diamond or if you stick a lump of coal up Cameron's ass in 30 days, you have a diamond. Is that true? Is that scientifically based?
yes, it's been
Okay.
proven in many labs.
Do you still is geology still like, are you a kind of a rock hound? Do you like that kind of stuff
Uh,
or?
I have a bit of a sore spot with that stuff because when I was, God, I'm gonna wreck your whole show with this nonsense.
No, you won't.
Um, when I was in university, I spent some time out here in the summers working and stuff like that, and I had my whole rock collection in the university in Ontario, and I didn't come claim it, and it's pretty much my fault. But for a long time, I just was mad at the world about
Mm,
this story that I'm telling you. And they basically appropriated all of my mineral collection, and a lot of it was my grandfather's stuff. And
mm.
because they said I owed them like money for storage, and it was basically like a
Oh,
box,
geez.
right? And so I was like, and I was out here, and there was no internet hardly back then, and I was just like, ah. So I
Yeah.
stopped collecting rocks, but I did something even worse. I started collecting meteorites.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So these are actually I stopped collecting them because it's way too expensive.
Yeah, it is, right? It is. I mean, it's from outer space. That's fantastic. So what's the constituency of that? What kind of minerals? Is it iron? What is it?
Yeah, you're right. It's mainly well, there's a few different types, but I mainly collect, unfortunately, iron meteorites, which living on the west coast is not the greatest thing because they rust like crazy. But yeah, there's it's nickel iron. It's mostly a lot of them are supposed to be like the cores of failed planets and stuff like that. So they're
Yeah.
nickel iron. There's two minerals like kamacite and taenite, and that's what makes this little kind of pattern.
Okay.
But this one's been treated because everything rusts here. I've got some meteorites that are worth a lot that are rusting. So
Can you just sand it off, or what do you do to
Yeah, to a point you can exactly do that.
clear coat them?
You can just take some, yeah. And living in an apartment here, like I've always meant to do that. I have some spray or some varnish or clear coat, but yeah, I guess it would be clear coat, but I haven't done it yet. But.
Okay, well, I have something to show you. It's not a meteorite, but around my area here, we have a lot of volcanic basalt stuff. And Silverton is known for Silver Falls State Park. And there is this, I'm going to try this now. I think I can, I've never shared let's see, what is this? Okay, so I think that's the, do you see us on there, right? Let's see. I can't see when I'm, does it show my desktop? Is that, I'm going to try something here.
Black.
It's black. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure about cameras like what you're doing, but I know when I was playing around with the secondary camera on StreamYard, they made me pay up for that.
Oh, really?
But I'm not an expert. I don't know. I've done one stream the last 5 years. I probably wouldn't be able to. If you want me to identify it, it's
no, I don't. I just wanted to show you.
It's always really difficult, especially when people like take something from the water and it's all polished and it's like, John, what's this?
Do you see anything in that black spot? Now I'm covered up.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
Okay.
At least nothing I can see.
All right. Well, I won't worry about it. Now
you just go out to the screen like old school.
What? Yeah, I will. Okay. So this is a slice or a piece of columnar basalt.
Ooh.
So
you actually have like the kind of hexagonal column.
Yeah, when it dries, it forms this this pattern, and this is just like a slice that fell off. I had this in my rock garden right outside the door here, and we have all this these waterfalls here that are the result of all this volcanic action that happened. I don't know how many million years ago or what the case was, but it's really wild. We have this. If anybody wants to get online and Google image Abiqua Falls, Abiqua, and it's a hike. It's about to get there is about 20 minutes from here, but it's off the beaten path. You have to climb down this canyon and then go up the Abiqua Creek, and then you kind of come around the corner and you're in this. It's like a coliseum. It's 100-foot walls, probably, I don't know, 300 feet across, 400 feet across. And at one side of it is this like 90-foot waterfall. And it's the whole wall is this columnar basalt. And it's absolutely incredible. And it's kind of it's my favorite place in the world. It's just an absolutely amazing place. So subsequently, there's just dozens of these waterfalls all along in the Silverton Hills here on the east side of the Willamette Valley, where we get all this really cool geologic stuff. Some of the falls you can go back behind, and there's one called Butte Creek Falls where there are these huge logs that are, you've seen old growth where it's like 5, 6, 10 feet across. Mm-hmm. But these logs were swept underneath behind this falls maybe hundreds of years ago, and they've been preserved kind of back in there, and you can kind of climb around on the logs behind the waterfalls. It's really cool place. I'm sure BC probably has a lot of that same kind of geology and stuff like that. Anyway,
are they kind of like flat top like mesas or something, or are they?
No, it's it's mountainous around here. We're in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, which are volcanic in nature, like stratovolcanoes, dormant stratovolcanoes. Like it's I'm south of Mount St. Helens, probably 80 or 90 miles, something like that, straight like south.
Cascade stuff.
Yeah, it's a Cascade range. From Silverton here, we can see Mount St. Helens. It's covered in snow now. We have, further north. We have more in Washington and northern Washington. They have more like the mountain ranges and the Olympic range. In Oregon, we don't have in the Cascades. It's more like we have these peaks, these volcanic peaks, like we have Mount Hood, Mount Jefferson, Mount Washington, the Three Sisters, Bastrop, and then it goes down to Crater Lake. Do you know about Crater Lake? It's about 7,700 years ago. It was a Mount Mazama, and it blew and created the deepest lake in North America. And I don't know how many, 1,000 or 2,000 feet deep or something like that. It's a national park, but it's an absolutely amazing place. But all around these volcanoes then is just kind of wooded mountains, I guess you would say. And then we have these snow-capped volcanoes that go up, from north to south or whatever along the state, that separate. Basically, the Cascade Range makes this huge climate difference between central and eastern Oregon, which is more high desert, and then the Willamette Valley, which is very fertile, and then we have the Coast Range, and then of course the coast. Whereas you guys are tucked up right against a mountain range, right? What's the range that? I mean, it's the Rocky Mountains, isn't it?
It's still part of the Cascades up here. There's
Cascades, okay.
Like there's a just north of us. There's Mount Garibaldi. It's part of that range, but it hasn't gone off in, I don't know, since 12,000 years ago, which isn't
Yeah.
that
That's not very very long ago.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all part of that. But where I am in downtown here, it's just a bunch of sandstone and earthquakes.
Right on. Okay, so let's get back to your biography a little bit. What was the move away from working for the mineral company?
What did I do after that? I guess for a while I was doing a lot of like repair stuff, like electronics repair stuff, because it was always
okay.
a hobby of mine. And then I'd taken a lot of programming courses in university and stuff, just as electives or not as electives, and I failed one. I think I failed Fortran. That's like, I can't stand that computer language. Thankfully, it's almost gone. But yeah, so I guess the programming mention is that's kind of what I do now, basically.
Do you work from home?
Yeah, I work from right where I am.
Okay, so tell me, how do you miss? Do you like working from home, or would you like going in someplace to an office, or do you wish you got out more? What's your general feeling about working from home?
It depends. It kind of messes with your mind, I think. I've been doing this, like this is like pre-COVID. I've been working from home for a long time.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a bit, I wouldn't want to go into the office. Like the company I work for, they have an office behind me, about 15-minute walk, but I go there once a year maybe. But I don't know. I like being by myself here. I get a lot of work done because a lot of the stuff I'm doing is kind of like research and development based stuff. So a lot of times I'm just like kind of like thinking and trying to think. I'm getting old.
What is your without, if you don't want to disclose the company or specifics about it, what is your what do you do? What's the job description, so to speak?
My job title is developer. I don't know what that means.
Okay, that's kind of vague, yeah.
But yeah, like it's a weird place within the company too. I work for Stantec. They're like a multinational monster. It seems like all they do is buy other companies, and then everything else is just superfluous.
Oh, interesting. So it's like an acquisition company.
Yeah, well, it's AEC. It's like a architecture.
Okay.
Design engineering type firm, but it's mainly, like a lot of these companies, they get so big that there's like 50,000 employees or something.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
It kind of worries me in a way though, which is why I'm still babbling about this, is that I've talked to people like my friend Chauncey and stuff about this, but I always kind of worry because out of 50,000 people, like most people are like billable, like they do their work, they build to a project that goes to a client, the client pays Stantec and everybody's happy, right? But then you got me, like most people are like 80-90% billable, so when you're doing your timesheet, you got to account for most of your time, which is pretty common. And then you got me and my boss Chuck out in Boston, and one other guy, Reggie, he's in Colorado, and he's in Broomfield near Denver.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the three of us. We're kind of like jokers because like our billable rates have been like almost zero. So like any kind of like bean pusher accountant up above there somewhere is probably going like, who are these jokers? You know? I mean, we're actually like indirectly making the company money through developing programs and things for them to sell to clients or just internal. But you know, there's always someone up there which is fine. I mean, but I think we stick out like sore thumbs sometimes because you look down a list at all these.
Okay.
You see like John 0% billable.
Do you work on projects that come and go? So if you're a developer, you develop something, and does that you go on to the next project kind of a thing, or is it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, sometimes I'm working for a project or for a client or something, and other times I'm just sort of like making stuff up as I go, and then we just see if anybody's interested in it and proceed from there.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of things like, and it's all almost, even though like Stantec's office is in Edmonton in Canada, I've never worked with one Canadian in like 5-6 years. Everybody's in the US.
Oh, really? Is your day filled with communicating with other people quite a bit?
I barely see that. Sometimes I also joke to other friends of mine about this too. Is like sometimes I wonder if I even have a job. So I sit here in this room all day by myself. You know, I collect paychecks, and but sometimes, yeah, I don't like talk. Like my boss, Chuck, is in Boston. Sometimes I talk to him like maybe once every 3 weeks.
Okay.
You know, I could be dead. Like nobody like contacts me. Right?
So you're pretty self-sustaining. You keep the wheels rolling on your own. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So when did vinyl come into your life? Has it been for a long time, or?
Yeah. I don't know if I even belong on your show because I don't know if I really collect.
I'm sure you have it. You belong more than I do, or at least as much. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was just gonna say I don't actually collect vinyl, but I kind of do, I guess. Because
Yeah, sure you do.
a mountain of them over there, but it's just something that was always in my life. Like I'm like what? I was born in 67.
Okay.
So I've always had records in my life. Then I went through the phase where, well, the dumb thing like a lot of people do is I got rid of all my records in like the early 2000s. And then I just started missing a lot of stuff. So I just started picking things up here and there record wise.
Yeah.
And now I've got about 1,000 maybe. I don't know.
All right. Anything from like did you turn over your vinyl, or do you still have vinyl from that you bought 30 years ago?
No, I have nothing from my childhood basically. Like
Yeah.
my parents moved around a lot and I moved around a lot, and records and rocks are both fairly heavy things to transport around.
Yeah.
So I have nothing that I originally had back in the day, which is fine, but a lot of it was sort of pretty obscure OG jazz stuff at the time. I was basically picking up in Minnesota and in Michigan and places like that, but I don't really regret it. But yeah, I don't have anything from.
Let's have you address this real quick. I remember once on Grants when Dagon hewed an art rock out of the hills of Appalachia with his bare hands. Ask him about that. I think that's a joke. Unless you have a story behind that.
No, but we had this whole, I mean, some of my closest friends on the VC are Loki and Chauncey, but we have this kind of, not that I don't love everybody, but we had this kind of running thing going on for a while, and we'd go on Grant's show and cause a lot of mayhem. And one episode was about art rock, and everyone was like, "What the hell's art rock?"
Oh, okay.
About
all right,
living in an art rock, and then it just snowballed over the months. It's nothing necessarily funny, but it was just a little, one of those little inside jokes.
Are you concerned that that Rob might get some of the obscure jazz, might end up in his hands?
Rob, well, actually, I would say probably half my record collection came from Rob.
Oh, really? Like his auctions, or just?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've bought a few from Rob.
I've bought, yeah, I would swear easy half of these records. I mean,
Really?
it sounds strange, and maybe I'm just fooling myself, but to buy a fairly decent record here at any of these stores is more expensive than me getting something from Rob, having him ship it to me.
Really?
Like it comes out as like even with the difference, the dollar difference and stuff.
So used records are not cheap in Vancouver.
Well, I bought recently like a Chico Hamilton OG. It had child scribbles all over the damn thing, and I was feeling rich or stupid that day, and I bought it. But like something like that in LA would be like $2, or it'd be in the free bin, and it was like $45-50 here.
No kidding.
And then I did buy another copy of Rob by accident, and I think with the Canadian conversion, everything, it cost me like half of that, like $18.
Huh.
So like it's strange, but I get like if you buy in enough, like I usually like bid on at least 20-30 things, but
Yeah.
it's all Rob's fault basically.
Indeed. Yeah. He is the guy's got the sickness for digging, right? I mean, I wish I could do it. He's in LA where there's just an endless supply of places to go and dig and look for things. But like he said before, his enjoyment is 70% digging and 30% music. So,
He's really good. Like when I was with him August, I guess it was like 2023 now. Jeez, it's been a while. But we go in there and like, man, that guy is good. Like it's a skill. Like
yeah.
I've been like buying records my whole life. I've been like flipping through things. He's around. He kept going like, John, you got this? John, you got this? And I missed all this stuff. I went through it, but
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
like,
I guess that just takes the you got to put in the hours
he
to
does
get
it every day almost.
yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
But it's his fault too with this whole Rachel thing, because one day, I guess I started collecting records again, and then I was like on the Jazz Bums Discord because I kind of found those guys, and I'd already kind of known Rob, and I'm like, who the heck is this Rachel you guys keep talking about? And so he sent me the link, and then I got sucked into Rachel land for.
So Rob was your entry into the Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Tokyo Brian was my entry into Rachel Land. Yeah, it's been fun. It's connected. She's the reason why you're my friend, and Chauncey and Fluffy and Loki and Eva, all the guys, Dave and yeah, Raji, all those guys are vis-a-vis Rachel, I guess we could say. She's here, by the way. Yes, Rachel Land. That's it. Thanks for hanging out, Rachel. Wow.
Good job. I didn't say anything really terrible.
No, we can swing some. She was slinging some dirt at Liberals this morning, so we can, if we want, we can sling some her way. Hey, and Sue's here. Hey, Sue.
I think that's why we get along a lot. Like Rachel and Sue and I have hung out a lot.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Have you been over to Nanaimo?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of times. Two or three. They came here twice.
Okay.
But they both know that about me. It's just ignorance more than anything, but I don't know. I'm not really a political person, but
yeah.
But so we just screw around and do other things.
Yeah, well, the mark of a good friendship is to be able to disagree on politics or want a mark of good friendship and still have fun together and enjoy each other's company. What's
there are some funny stories though. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, go ahead. Go.
There's Rachel's told this many times probably, but when we first met, we were going to meet at Neptune Records up the hill here, and Rachel calls and she's like, "Oh, like I'm going to meet Mazzy," and she's like, "Should we just take the bus there and meet him?" I was like, "What the hell? He's got like $1 million vehicle. Just get him to pick you up." So, anyways, we all converge there, and I'm a bit late because I'm having a beer up the street. And so I get there, and what's transpired is, I'm going to say this quickly because this story's been told a million times, but Mazzy's there, and there's other Rachel who said, "Oh, look, I think that's John." And they go over there, and Mazzy pretends to take this guy's records off him and starts kind of teasing him or something. And the guy's, luckily he was a good sport, but he was kind of like super confused. Like, oh, he's like, you're not John. He's like, no.
Oh no!
We go
So
on over there. He started
he
like
thought he
crying.
was you and was screwing. That's
So I
funny.
get there, like, what the heck's going on? And he's like, oh, I just like was harassing this guy over here.
Right on. So what's the commute time like if you were to hop on you get on a ferry, and how long does it take to the boat ride take to get over to the island?
Right now it's pretty good because they have a fast ferry from downtown behind me that goes right to downtown Nanaimo and Departure Bay. It's about an hour on the boat.
Okay.
But if you do the regular old route, you go way out to this place called Horseshoe Bay, which is quite a ways away. It's like a 40-minute bus trip at least, and then you got to wait for the ferry and get on. I mean, that's more like almost a 2-hour ferry that way, but
Okay.
and it's really annoying. But yeah, right now, like you can just walk down the street here for 10 minutes, jump on, and you could be in Nanaimo in an hour.
Oh, that's cool.
But
So I'm planning on riding the motorcycle up this spring and going to Nanaimo to hang out. And I was thinking about leaving like from the Washington side, but I think I don't know if I come up to Vancouver, we could hang out for an afternoon or whatever, and then I could just go. I can ride the motorcycle onto the ferry right there, right, close to from your place.
the one that's downtown here is only for passengers, actually.
Okay, where would I go to ride the motorcycle on?
So that would be easy if you have a vehicle. Like if you have a motorbike or a car, you just keep going on the Highway 1, I guess,
Mhm.
Trans Canada. It goes right to the ferry. It's
Okay.
super dead easy to get to, and there's signs everywhere.
Is it,
You
you
could
gotta
go
get
downtown here and see me, and then pop over the Lionsgate Bridge, and then you're right on the highway, and you can be there in like
okay,
50
okay.
minutes. But
Is that is it something that you gotta get tickets for ahead of time, or is there generally you just go there and get a ticket, and there's enough ferries that are, like, going every couple hours?
these days, I would get a ticket ahead of time.
Okay.
I would say any time in the past, it was just do whatever. But there's a lot of they've decommissioned a bunch of ferries, and a lot of them are, I guess, just getting repaired. And these days, I mean, I guess, yeah, I would get a ticket or try to.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you can just drive up there, but you might wait another sailing, and you're sitting there for 3 hours. So.
Yeah. How far of a drive is it from the border to where you live? Hour?
No, I would say
Probably depends on
less than
traffic.
40 minutes, like with the traffic even. It's not.
Okay.
But I could always meet you somewhere. Like I could go down closer to that area.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm gonna hopefully have like a 3-day weekend, buzz up early on a Friday morning, and I want to explore the island a little for a day, just kind of drive around. There's going to be some camp. I like to camp off the bike, and there's a I don't know how big Nanaimo is. It's like 100,000 people, something like that. Is it?
I don't even know.
They have a record shop there, right?
They've got a couple. They've got 2 or 3. The one's a kind of a metal place, and then there's a couple of others. But I mean, Rachel,
I'm metal, right on.
Well, it's more like, I guess, kind of heavy stuff. I bought some Black Sabbath records there and stuff like that. But,
all right. So do you you're still a jazz guy? That's most of the stuff that you buy from Rob is jazz, probably, huh?
Yeah.
But you do like metal?
Not really. I would say 90% of the stuff I listen to is jazz. The rest is sort of like nostalgia, sort of.
Okay.
Like old.
No, I definitely know that. I've been collecting or just kind of gathering when I see them in the wild the gospel music that I listened to when I was a kid that I no longer have records or cassette stuff that I had on cassette back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's real fun when you come across them in the wild and you're like, oh my goodness, I listened to this when I was 12. And and it's a $5 record or something like that. You pick it up.
Yeah.
And, that's cool.
Yeah. So I've got stuff like that for sure too. But
Anything anything you have to show us?
I don't have anything really special, but I don't have a collection like Mr. Breakfast King. That guy's got some crazy good stuff.
Does he, Paul? And he's in Detroit, right?
Yeah, he's got every record of his. Like he was on my little stream I did there a while ago.
Yeah, that's right. That was
everything
good.
he held up. I was like, never seen it, never heard of it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like that knowledgeable, but like I didn't know what the heck he had.
Right.
But some of the things he shows on the Discord that we're on, it's just some of it's amazing stuff. It's really, really good.
That's cool.
I have this record.
Hey, yes, I got that last month.
Yeah.
It's something else. It's kind of like an all-star cast of musicians, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there's a story behind it. It was I think Kevin Ayers, formerly of Soft Machine and stuff like that. He was doing a concert, and I guess John Cale was with him and called up Eno, and then they all kind of joined up and
they like rehearse for a couple days and then just put on the concert.
Yeah, it's kind of, some of it's kind of sloppy, but I like it. It's like, this is one of those kind of nostalgia things. I first heard this in like Guelph, Ontario, and
I think it takes. I've only listened to it through once, but I think it probably would take knowing a little bit more of the individual characters to really appreciate, I guess, what it is or what it. Yeah. It's not. It's not super
be a Kevin Ayers fan, and a lot of people don't know who the heck that is.
So. Yeah, I don't, and because I don't know Soft Machine at all. They weren't. I don't think they. I mean, when they were, is that like late 70s, early 80s, or was that before?
No, the ones that Ayers was on would have been like kind of early 70s, if I'm not.
Okay, I wonder if they have a 74 release that I don't know about.
It's a big confusing mess, that whole Canterbury music scene. There's like
that was part of the Canterbury. Okay,
so I think so. Like they had bands like I guess
Caravan in there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And Matching Mole, all those guys. Robert Wyatt.
Robert Wyatt's 74 release, Rock Bottom. Yeah, I have not seen that anywhere, but that's one that I want to get. That was right after he like fell out of a window and became paralyzed.
Yeah, that's a sad story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a good record. I don't own that either, but it's a good record.
Yeah, I've streamed it a couple of times.
Yeah,
it's not a happy record. I don't think you'd call it a happy record. It's called Rock Bottom.
I think he's a very happy person, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah, is Gong, is that Canterbury as well?
I would consider it, but I'm not an expert. I think Gong and all those guys. Was it Gentle Giant? Were they kind of Canterbury?
Yeah,
I'm sure there's people in the audience here that
I need to get Power and Glory. That's Gentle Giants. I'm hoping to pick that one up when I go over to Belfast in a couple of weeks. That's right at the top.
Fortune, Marty.
What's that?
Those records cost a fortune.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Like I don't get the other than buying on auction from Rob and Patrick. I don't buy any of my 74s online, so I've got to find them in the wild. And I see plenty of other Gentle Giant albums, but Power and Glory is like, I think it's like a $50 album kind of minimum.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to come across it. We'll see if I can find it. Would it probably be more accessible over there than here, but who knows?
I never see them, but I do buy some stuff off eBay, but it's just like, I'm not going there. They're like, some of those records are like over $100.
Yeah. I have a real, most of my high dollar records I've traded for, like I have the first UK press of Gong U from 74, and it was like 75 or $80, but I traded for it. So I traded records that I basically got for free, so I didn't have to shell out for it. But as I gain more, I'm at 796, I think, albums from 74 now. And of course I've gotten most of the commons, and there are just now I'm getting into the more high dollar ones. So instead of going to a record store and bringing back 10 or 15 or 20 albums from 74. It's more like I'm bringing back one or two, if because now it is the high dollar stuff, and that and that's fine. I don't mind that, and I want to. I still need to get those, but there are several of those albums from 74. Like I'm sure I'm just going to have to settle for a repress of The Residents, but that's like a $700 or $800 album from 74. And I don't like I streamed it. I don't like it at all. It's kind of avant-garde and weird. Mazzy has his original copy from 74, but so I'll probably pick up a repress of that. And I don't mind represses. I've got a repress of John Cale's Fear, which was one of my favorite albums from 74. I love that was one of the first ones I got, and it took me a while to get into it, but it's kind of like one of those albums that do take a while to get into are just something else. I remember specifically where I was in the truck streaming it on the week that I basically streamed it over and over and over and over again, and it just kind of and then when I got the LP, it was really great. So
yeah, that's pretty pricey, man. You can buy a Meteorite for that kind of money,
right? Yeah. I came across an album. Oh, okay. What's that? I can't.
Live. Oh yeah, I got this damn freaking. That's
It's like a Fender bass guitar. What is what's the?
This is another kind of thingy-majiggy like the last one, but it doesn't have ears on it. It's got this is Phil Manzanaro's band, the guy the guitar player from Roxy.
Okay.
There's a Brian Eno up there.
Yeah.
Monkman, Lloyd. There's a bunch of guys. Oh yeah, Simon Phillips plays on this. The drummer. He's
what year is that from?
Oh, 77, I think. This is a great record though, but I only bring this one up because I broke up with some girl in Guelph once and listened to this all the way home. I think I lost half my hearing that night.
Really? I'm gonna stream that.
This is a good record. You know why this is a really good record is mainly Bill McCormick plays the bass on this.
Okay.
And also I always say this, like I love this record, but this album would be garbage without Simon Phillips on it. The guy's like a phenomenal drummer. I always say I can't understand why he plays with Toto and bands like that, because I don't like Toto, but I guess it makes him money. But I mean, the guy is just like he takes, like if he wasn't on this record, it would sound like a crappy garage band.
Oh, really? No kidding.
But I think he was 18 or 19 when he played on this record, and he's anyways.
Revs likes it. 801 Live is truly one of the best live LPs.
I love it. Yeah, it's got some Eno stuff on it from his live album or his.
Oh no! Norman says 801 Live is so good. A great version of Tomorrow Never Knows. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a Beatles fan at all. I know a lot of people are going to attack me now, but I do love that song, and the version on this I think it's just killer. Yeah, it's got everything.
I'm gonna listen to it this afternoon.
There is a funny story about this too, and what I'm saying to corroborate what I'm saying is that they put out later a couple of other ones of these from like the year later they did a tour, and they sound horrible. And you know who's not on them is Simon Phillips. Like he just made that band.
Interesting.
But like I love those guys if they sound crummy or good or whatever. But it's like some of it was just like, ow, it's like really bad.
Oh, that's wild. Chauncey, tell us about your relationship with hats.
Well, this hat is funny. I bought another hat, and then I bought this one to like fulfill some sort of sale thing.
Yeah.
I put it on. I was like, John, you look like an idiot.
I love it.
Like, damn, this thing is comfortable, and now I can never take it off.
Yeah, it's like thick corduroy, right? Yeah, very cool.
I don't think it's cool. I think I look stupid, but
no, I have a bucket hat that I really love.
But it's like it's corduroy. It's really
very cool.
I'd sleep in this.
Do you ever wear corduroy pants anymore?
If I could find them, I'd wear them.
Right, a little bit. I had some in the '90s that I really loved, and but I think I wore them out, you know.
They're good
And
for libraries because then you go, whoop, whoop, whoop.
zoop, zoop, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and Simon was about to turn 20 when he played on Sin After Sin with Priest. What's that? Oh, here Ed says he played with Judas Priest around then too.
Simon Phillips?
I guess so. Maybe
Yeah,
so.
see, like this is interesting. I have no idea.
Russell says, "Shut up, Dagon. The hat is cool. It is cool. I agree, Russell. Yeah.
And my hair's changing color.
Yeah, you've got hair, bro.
Changing color though. I keep going on to Loki and Chauncey about this, but I've been drinking a lot of juice from these juicers.
Oh, the whole juicer conversation. Yeah.
But I'm not going to go on about it. I sound like a salesman, but like I swear to God, my like I don't have a lot of hair, and you can't tell probably from this lighting, but it was really, really, really white. And now every time I look at it, I start laughing because it's actually like gotten darker and darker.
Is that? Oh, so you're not going gray. You're going back to your original color kind
It's
of.
weird. I'm turning into a baby again.
Isn't that wild?
I don't know what else it would be. I mean, I've been drinking a lot of different vegetables.
What's the juice ingredients of choice? Are you a carrot guy or apple or what do you do?
I just put in whatever I have, like usually beets. I hate beets, but they make it look really nice. And then carrots.
What do you do to sweeten it?
Yeah, it's not really great if you're trying to lose weight, probably because I put a lot of fruit in it. There's lots of just apples and oranges mainly.
Yeah.
And whatever else we have around, like
berries. You juice every day?
Yeah.
And is it a breakfast thing or
kind of during the day? But it's a pain. Like Rochelle was just saying about cleaning the thing. Yeah, like it's an investment time because you make the stuff, you chop it all up, you juice it, and then you got all these parts and pieces to clean and everything. So
do you like the pulp? Do you like pulp?
I've been throwing it out. I don't know what to do with it, but if I find something to do with it, I'll.
So your juicer is not giving you any pulp; it's separating it out. So it's just juice. Yeah.
But not to make this conversation morbid, but last June, July, I had a few doctors tell me I had 3 months to live. 1 to 3
Oh my God.
Basically. And this story's old now, but
no, I haven't heard it.
But apart from just changing my diet and drinking this stuff every day, because I've been like forcing myself to do this, but I feel like better than I did in 10, 15 years, really.
Really?
So it's a little bit of it's America. It's
well, yeah, it is. So, I mean, that's got to scare the pucky out of you if somebody tells you got 3 months to live. What was your mindset during that time? Were you like, no?
I wasn't very happy. Well, I didn't feel very good. I mean, it was all liver related. So, and I wasn't necessarily drinking, although I did drink a fair bit, but it was one of my specialist things. It's sort of an autoimmune thing that it kind of attacked my liver because it happened really fast. And then they said, "Oh, your liver is failing. You got like a month or 3 months tops." I'm like, "Huh?"
Wow. So did you immediately just like go home and start researching what to do to cleanse your liver to heal naturally? And
I probably had a big drink and sat there and cried or something.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, then we kind of got onto this juice thing, and I lost a fair bit of weight. And but I wasn't eating either because I just felt like horrible.
Yeah. Do you juice now instead of eating meals, or do you stay away from anything like you stay away from carbs or refined carbohydrates or anything like that? Or
at first I was on a pretty strict diet. I mean, it was self-imposed. I didn't know what to do. I just started eating a lot of fish and stuff, and no refined sugars or anything like that. I mean, I've kind of loosened up now that I've been feeling pretty good.
Feeling better. Yeah.
But at first, my diet was pretty basic. It was like juice and fish, and there's really, really boring things.
It's not. It's fascinating to me, dude. Because I'm a bit of a hypochondriac myself, and I'm I'm very my wife says that I feel my body more than most people do. So any little twinge or soreness or anything like that, I tend to stress about it a little bit more than I'm sure most people do. And it's been a real I mean, if I could just be vulnerable, it's been a real struggle for me to to get a handle on my mind. Eh, I'm 50 now, and I'm not 30 anymore, obviously. So, things hurt more, and I don't recover as quickly as I used to. And coming to grips with not getting younger, and because when you're 20, you're going to live forever. You don't even consider this kind of stuff, and now I do all the time. And when you're behind the wheel in a truck all day, you can get lost in your own mind really quick.
Yeah,
You can spiral really, really quickly. And you know, I I haven't um, I don't have the kind of anxiety that gets out of control, but I do have phases or days where when I'm thinking about my own mortality and that kind of stuff, and I've got 4 daughters and what that means, and before long, if you, I guess I could say I'm learning to use tools that help me manage that kind of mindset, because I think it's just part of human nature. Um, when you
yeah,
when you get and it also, I've come out of being a religious person to a non-religious person. So that's over the last 30 years, that's been a real journey for me, and it's made me understand just how much religion is a part of I believe, our evolutionary process, and that we know of. I mean, maybe dolphins or certain mammals or whales or whatever or elephants can grasp their own mortality. They grieve and stuff like that too, but we're really one of that we know we can see the future, or we can project into the future, and that's kind of a scary thing. So we create all these contingency plans to escape that fear of death. So, have you ever heard of the premise that all of our decisions are based around the fear of death? Like
yeah.
even the most mundane decisions that we make can all be rooted back into the fear of death. That speaking of morbid. Anyway.
I used to read a lot of philosophy and stuff like that. I've forgotten half of it, but yeah. I mean, not to make it about me again, but my thing always was, even before all this medical nonsense. Sorry, I have really bad allergies.
That's good.
It was just like, I don't like sleeping. I don't like it.
Really?
I don't have good sleeps. I have horrible dreams. I've always been like that, but
did you
that's when I started thinking, like, you're driving
yeah
in your truck and you're like, I like lie there. I think this is probably very common.
yeah. Did you could I ask, did you take psychedelics when you were young at all?
No, I never really took any kind of, I mean, apart from marijuana and nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. I mean, that's why I liked alcohol so much back in the day, because it was so controllable for me. Like,
Yeah.
in the terms that I knew how much I could drink and still feel normal. I'm not talking about driving or anything. I'm just saying, like, yeah. But with, like, if you're ingesting a pill or a drug,
Yeah.
or I have this horror that, like, something bad is going to happen. And these days with fentanyl and stuff, but
Yeah, absolutely. It's
but
been
no,
years,
I
but
never really took anything like
yeah,
that.
alcohol is definitely that it's completely, it's more manageable, I guess, and it yeah, Norman, wait till you're 70. Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Well, not to scare you either, but I think I can understand what Mazzy's saying, because
Yeah.
I felt pretty good until I was about 50, and I'm trying to bum you out, Marty.
No, it's true. In the last year or two, I've basically I don't know. They say there are these certain times in your life where you age more, you know, like at 34 and at 50 and at 67 or whatever those, you know, it's different for everybody. But it's, you know, and with I only have one daughter left at home, so I have a lot more. My thoughts are more like, what am I doing with my life now that I'm not raising kids anymore? You know, and uh, how do I manage my own psyche? I'm encouraged that there is a mind space that I can find peace, and that that's what keeps me kind of moving towards learning more about the human condition and how to manage getting old, and watching my, you know, I still have both of my parents, but I know that in the next while I'll have to say goodbye, and I'm really close to my parents. They live a mile down the road,
Oh,
and I'm one of those guys that could never move away. I could never live very far from my parents. I can't cut the apron apron strings, but my dad is one of my best friends, and so I but I also realize though that all that hurt, the stronger the hurt means that the more valuable the relationship is and was in the past. So there is a some relief, I guess, in the pain, and yeah, that's kind of twisted. Maybe we're getting a little bit too down here. I don't want to be too down, but I also do appreciate the, you know, I don't life isn't just a bouquet of roses. It is all the rough, and each one of us, though we get together and we joke around, each one of us are going through something and are in relationships that we struggle with, and are going through health struggles and stuff like that. And so I think it's good to be able to, you know, and I feel I that you get more of a sense of kinship with people when they share what they've been through and stuff like that. And it's kind of a tightrope walk, I guess, a little bit. You don't want to dump on people, but at the same time, you want to be vulnerable too. So anyway,
are
let's
you
see. Go
are
ahead.
you still? I mean, you say you've quit religion, but I'm sure you're still involved or still interested, or like personally myself. I don't really belong to a church or any kind of
Yeah.
religion, but I'm very fascinated with the topic from like a historical sense. Like I used
Yeah.
to read a lot of a lot of things I was reading were very religious based, but they're not indoctrination type things. They're just more like history of this or that, or
Yeah.
Gnostics or
I
early
grew up
Christianity.
in the Mennonite church when I was young, and then we kind of left that and went to more of a non-denominational Protestant kind of mildly charismatic a little bit. I played um, in the church band my whole life from when I was a kid, and then when I got married when I was 22, and my wife was 19. We kind of grew up together in the church, and I started to um, I had childhood friends that kind of introduced me a little bit to psychedelics, and I started to ask questions. And of course, you know, if you decide you want to just start asking questions, um, the more questions you ask, the more you realize you don't know. And so that certitude that I had as a youth began to fade away. You know, the knowing. You know, when I was a kid or when I was 17, I knew that Jesus would have been a Republican. You know, I knew that he was a conservative, you know, and I could argue. You know, I listened to Rush Limbaugh, you know, and this kind of stuff. And I was certain about all those kind of things. And then and I consider myself a seeker. So the more I began to dig and find out why is it that I believe where I'm at, you know, and I realized that my religion is largely based on geography, on where I was born, and what
Yeah.
happens, you know, and the young man in India he's a Hindu because he was born there, and in China Buddhist or whatever. And then I began to ask, well, what happens to these people who never hear about my God? And how do I know that my God is the God? You know, and you just keep asking those questions. And so it's been like so in my 20s, I dug deep into religion and was fascinated by religious history and the origins of all sorts of religions and thought process and faith. I had a
Mm.
real struggle with my departure from faith, which is I've said this before too. Faith with a capital T is like your doctrine, whereas faith with a little lowercase t is belief despite the evidence. And
Yeah.
and that brings a lot of peace to people. But I realized that I couldn't have that if I wanted to be honest with myself. I I couldn't force myself to believe something like that. So I wouldn't say there isn't a God. I just don't see the evidence for a God. It makes sense that something started it all, that an initial cause, but certainly it doesn't seem like it's the Judeo-Christian God that started it all. Not saying it's not. I would never assert that I'm right about that. I just don't see. I don't know. Do you feel like that? Yeah.
I don't know. I change my mind about things constantly.
Well, that's good, and I do too. The one thing I'm certain about is that I'm not certain, and that I want to be willing to. I mean, I'm open to rediscovering all sorts of things that I had in my past, and to have that. Paul had his road to Damascus experience. I'm open to that. It just hasn't happened, I guess, for me. But it's not for lack of looking. I'll always be a searcher and want to dig into that kind of stuff. These are the big questions, I guess. And a lot of people, they just want to plug along in their life, but I just can't. I have to wonder about those dark things, I guess. And it's a blessing and a curse, I guess, but that's just how I am. So
yeah, I think I'm kind of similar that way. I mean, I read a lot. I think a lot of my reading is more me desperately searching for something than getting enjoyment out of it. So,
yeah, no, I can identify with that for sure. I don't want to miss out on some information, so I'll go through periods where I just consume as much information as I can, and then of course I get burnt out or whatever. It's kind of cyclical, but yeah,
it's so very fun.
He's a slob. Yeah, just a
Did I
slob.
tell you I was in a plane crash?
Oh, do tell. Okay, let's. Speaking of near-death experiences,
It's kind of works with the conversation.
Yeah.
No, I just like telling my old stories because everybody's heard them.
Well, I'm interested. That's why we're here, John.
Well, I was doing this job. I'm just thinking about my near death with my liver lately, and this was the first one. It was doing this job up north here in Canada. I forget where it was even. It was in northern BC, I think. But anyways, we were in the mountains. Big storm comes up. We were going to all pack out and leave that day off this kind of dirt airstrip. And we had two planes. We had a big plane and a small plane. My boss, of course, took the big plane and flew over the storm. And then me and this other guy, Will and Scott, I used to work with, we got in the small plane.
You and Buddy Holly and Richie
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We horribly damaged our larynxes during that flight. No.
Wow.
Anyways, no, I'll make this short. So we just took off, big storm, hit a bunch of trees, didn't actually hit the ground, but we went across a whole bunch of trees.
Was this on takeoff?
Yeah, and then we just about clipped a mountain after that because it was like super foggy and stormy, and we were basically in like not quite as small as a Cessna, but it was like 4 seats. And then so that's basically it. I didn't crash and there was no fire, but hitting trees is not fun. I basically thought I definitely had my life flash before my eyes there. And then on the way back, this is the funny part too, is that we were lost now, right? And so this pilot's like doing this on the screen, trying to wipe the screen, and he's doing this like your mom might do with the map. He's like rotating it.
No.
And he's like, and I hear him on the radio going like, I think I made a mistake back there. And me and Will and Scott are looking at each other like, And then, anyways, we made it back. I'm
You
here.
made it back to the original to the strip that you took off from?
No, we actually made it back to this place called Smithers, which is in northern BC. So, and the
Okay.
funny thing too was the guy got out of the plane, ran to the parking lot, which was open and exposed, and got in his car and just like burned rubber out of there. Like I bet you he was going to the nearest bar or something because he
Wow.
was like shaking, right?
Wow.
Yeah, that was funny. That was a long time ago. That was like probably 1999.
So Smithers, how far north? Like Prince George, Vanderhoof area, or
It's northwest of Prince George. I don't know. It's probably like a 4 or 5 hour drive north,
okay.
but I don't know.
Yeah. So did you fly back
No, that
then?
was it. That was it for that job. We were done. So we were just packing out. Another thing that makes me mad is my boss made us stay there another day because he wanted to do something else, and then we knew that the storm was coming. But yeah, it was fun.
Did that do you still have dreams about that at all?
I think about it a lot. I mean that I guess I'm bringing it up because I'm being all close and huggy and personal. But
Yeah.
between that and my little liver thing, those are two pretty big events in my life that kind of make me rethink a lot of the things that I'm doing, or
Yeah.
like it's like it sounds so hokey, like I've seen the light, but
No, but those are the seminal moments that make us
there's
examine
yeah,
our
there's just
existence.
certain things that happen. I was like, is this really critical, or am I really going to get this upset about this because
Yeah.
I've been in a plane crash?
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
that's kind of the thoughts I get. It's not like I get nightmares and it's horrible. It's more just like I think it kind of set me straight a few times. These types of things. But
Rochelle was asking earlier, it's up the comment thread, if any of your dreams come true. Do you find that at all?
no, because I would say no because they're all really kind of fantastical and horrible.
Hmm.
Like they're generally things that probably don't exist. I have a horrible fear of little gray aliens, for instance.
Really?
Those like little
Like
guys.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Is that does that fear, is it maintained in your waking hours, or is it just mostly when you're asleep?
At night when
Yeah.
I even like used to sleep with my light on sometimes because of those things when I was younger.
Interesting. Do you think do you think that's a reality? Do you think they've that aliens have been on Earth?
I kind of think so. I'm
Yeah.
not really in that whole camp of like I hate when people always say that uh, there has to be other life in the universe because the universe is so big. But depending on what kind of life you're talking about, like the first whatever, I'm probably wrong here, but like say the universe is supposed to be around 15 billion years old. Like the
Right.
first 7, 8, 10 billion years, there was nothing that could have existed. There was hydrogen atoms. There was,
Mhm.
like so like I guess my point is that people like Carl Sagan always had arguments like, oh, it's so big, there's got to be, but it's like it's time too. It's like, well, he knows this.
Yeah.
He's a physicist, but there was no ability for people to live or
Yeah,
anything to live.
if we use the elements of life, carbon and that kind of stuff, yeah, what if we're basing it on the ingredients that makes up life in on Earth, which you would think would be across the universe. Of course, now we have the multiverse idea that our universe is just one in an endless amount of other universes, in a bubble. I recently, when I was a kid, it was all there's as many stars as there are grains of sands on the Earth. But now it's, there are a million stars for each grain of sand on the
Mhm.
Earth. The
Yeah.
vastness of the universe, and it's when I mean, to wrap your mind around that is pretty wild.
And it's pretty crazy, like the time period too. Like I was a kid in the 70s, and like the things that they know now, like just that time period from my me being alive. Like they hadn't discovered any other planetary bodies outside the solar system that may support life. And they found like that one by I think it's Bernard's star or something, and then a bunch of others. Like it's like things have changed so much since like say 1967 when I was born. Like,
absolutely. You know, when I was young, the Earth was 6,000 years old.
Yes.
And I still, most of my relatives still think that. I mean, they think that dinosaurs, and some would think that that dinosaurs' bones were put on Earth as to confuse us, that God did that to confuse us, and some would say that we walked the Earth with dinosaurs and this kind of stuff. And so that was one of the things that really helped me understand just how brief religion has been on the earth. You know, that we've been, you know, in our current form, what do we think? Humans have been around for maybe a couple 100,000 years, but then just 2,000 years ago in Bronze Age, Middle East, Palestine area, the one true God came to an illiterate group of people and revealed itself. You know, I don't know, it kind of begs belief a little bit, I guess. Doesn't mean it's not right, though. I'm still waiting.
And to answer your question, I do believe in little gray aliens.
You do believe in little gray aliens. So can you define that or unwrap that a little bit?
I had I'm going to sound like a hokey hick.
We're all kooks, man. Don't worry about it.
I was on my grandparents' cottage in Lake Superior back in the 70s, and I definitely saw something. And you know, your brain over the years, you know, I'm sure my brain has added to the story, but I basically saw something really big in the sky that was very close and very quiet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not too conspiracist. So.
No, but how do you that you saw something that is not that you can't explain, you know, away, and it sticks.
And a lot of people across the bay actually the next day on the radio had apparently all called in sightings that night of something. So it wasn't just me, but I remember the biggest, the thing I remember most about the story is that I was probably like 12 or something. Mm-hmm. And my grandparents and my parents kept screaming at me because I was the only person outside and it was nighttime. And they wanted me to get my hot chocolate. And I'm like, this is like more important than hot chocolate. And I go in there and I'm trying to explain to them, there's this thing in the sky. It's like about a foot from my head. And it's
that close. Oh my goodness.
I like, drink your hot chocolate, John. I think that's where that story ended. But
what does that do you think that did that have a transformative effect on your life, and that is why you believe like you do? I mean, or do you just how do you think that plays a role in what you think now, that experience?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't answer that question earlier, but I do think that there is a God. I don't know what form or whatever it takes. I think there are aliens, and I'm very open-minded, but I'm also like I'm very like science-based in my schooling and my day-to-day type of thing. So there's a bit of a clash. I believe in like wacky things like little gray aliens, and I'm very scientific in my job and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, I think I'm along those lines too. We're always there's always discoveries of weird things that we're finding out, and I reserve belief for the evidence, I guess, but it doesn't keep me from thinking that there's some really crazy things that just haven't been discovered. And you know, I've recently been kind of exploring a little bit more about a universal consciousness, and is consciousness fundamental? Does it, which is really hard for me to define, and I don't have a very good grasp on it at all, but does consciousness exist outside of our, you know, like does it exist outside of our brains? Does it arise from just our brains? Is there, it would seem scientifically that when we have brain death, our consciousness ceases to exist. But then there's a lot of people who have near-death experiences, and there's a whole literature on this now. A lot of people are writing about it and exploring it, and there seems to be a kind of a common thread or common experiences that people get when they go through this kind of stuff. People that are clinically dead for half an hour or something like that, and they claim to see. Now I can also see, like, when a lion takes down a gazelle on the Serengeti, this is the circle of life, and so life and death happens every day, and things are just being eaten all the time. So it would make sense that our bodies evolve to dump a bunch of I don't know, dopamine or serotonin to put us. It's kind of like when you're freezing to death, you feel warm. They find hikers with their coats off and their clothes off because when they get close, they feel warm. Yeah, that happened to you before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
You get really warm.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. This has nothing to do with me working in the bush or being a geologist. I was waiting for a bus in Ontario after a movie once, and it was like, must have been almost 40 below, and the bus never showed up. And me and my friend started derobing, not in any weird kind of way. Just
yeah,
like,
no,
I'm warm. It's like 38 below out. Like, well, this is Celsius.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, we'd had our jackets off and everything. And finally the bus came, but we were waiting there for hours, right? This before cell phones and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I don't know. I don't think aliens really affected my life so far.
No, not so far.
I got this pimple. I don't know where it came from.
Oh man, you'd think at my age and our age, I wouldn't, but I still get them. I had one on my my cheek that lasted for like a month. It was deep down, and it took forever for it to get out, and the whole side of my face was swollen up. I don't know if it's stress related or what the deal is, but I'm still.
It is funny. I mean, I've been making this comment for years, but like, I also thought that when I got a certain age, I wouldn't have to deal with this crap anymore.
Yeah.
But I find when I'm working here, I'm by myself, and I'm quite often more just like thinking than anything, but I'm sitting here like rubbing my face with my fingers.
Yeah, there you go. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and then I realize I'm like sitting here going like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have naturally oily skin too, and if I go for I'm sitting in a truck seat all day, so my back is up against my seat all day, and if I put in like last week, I went to Idaho and did like 1,800 miles in 3 days, and I'll have not a breakout, but I'll get some, I'm sweating. I know it's gross. I shouldn't talk about it at all, but whatever. But it's all part of the gig. Here, Chris James says our brains are hard drives. When they crash, it's done. Yeah, Chris, I've gone back and forth on that many times, and the evidence seems to say that that's the way it is, but I'm open to
really. I interrupted you again.
No, not at all.
What's a really cool movie? I like it. It's more of a nostalgia thing again, but it's God. I think Chauncey's here. It's either Brainstorm or Brainwave. I think it's Brainstorm, but it's Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood. It's her last movie.
Wow!
But it's all about this stuff. It's really kind of neat. It's they built this device to record your thoughts or to see things, and they're using like apes, primates, and stuff. And at one point, this woman, she's a heavy smoker. Well, I guess I shouldn't say too much, but
no, go ahead.
They basically record somebody's death on this machine, and then there's this old stuff that happens after it. I find it like to be super fascinating. Like if you're interested in like. It's not going to give you any answers. It's a stupid Hollywood film, but it's an interesting topic.
It prompts some thought, about that.
That's Natalie Wood.
We're being harmed. And Natalie Wood, didn't she? Yeah, she drowned, didn't she?
That was during the filming of that. Her and
wow,
Chris Walken and What's his name? The guy from Heart to Heart. Anyways, it was his wife.
Oh, Robert Wagner.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So like they were all on that boat during the filming of that. She died.
Rochelle says, I recently read The Science of Near-Death Experiences, interviews of doctors, nurses, scientists, edited by John C. Hagen III, MD. Fantastic book. It's opened my mind. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that stuff. I just find like, I don't know if it would help me or not. Maybe I would just.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, should I not, when there's some information becomes available to me, or I see is that gonna make am I gonna worry more after I read that? And then I debate in my head, well, maybe I need to worry more about that. And then it's just this mental cycle.
You mentioned, I don't know how much time we have left, but you mentioned like multiverses earlier, but there's a lot of interesting sci-fi stuff that goes along with that too. One of them that I remember when I was a kid was Larry Niven wrote this book called, it was a short story called All the Myriad Ways, but it's basically everyone's committing suicide because they're imagining themselves in all these other myriad universes doing better or doing worse, and like they just can't handle it. So, and this is like apparently proof that it's been proven. So people are like jumping from buildings left and right and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
But it's because they have this like concrete knowledge that there are other multiverses, and then maybe you're like king of the world in one, or maybe you're it's a neat. There's a lot of stuff that Philip K. Dick writes too. That's very
kind of mind bending a little bit.
Yeah, I like a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. There's what is the is it with the quantum computing, or what are they talking about now, where these we live in a 4-dimensional world, right? And but quantum theory says that there are 13 dimensions, or 7, or whatever it is, the way the math works out. But I've seen some stuff over the years about there being an alternate reality to what we have now, all the way down to the change of one atom. So the universe is so infinite that if I blink twice, there's a universe where I only blink once or blink twice, and then all the way down, and that these universes or dimensions are coexisting right beside us. I mean, there is something to be said for the woo in what people talk about paranormal. You ever see Men Who Stare at Goats?
No.
It's Kevin Spacey and Ewan McGregor and Jeff Bridges. Watch that movie, John. The Men Who Stare at Goats.
I've never even heard of it. No.
Oh man, you got to watch that. It's a comedy. If you like Jeff Bridges, and it's not like The Big Lebowski, but it has kind of that same kind of vibe to it. Oh, and George Clooney's in it. He's fantastic, really good.
Well, you gotta like Jeff Bridges. Who are you gonna like? Beau Bridges?
Yeah, exactly. I like Lloyd Bridges a lot.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, the airplane movies, right?
I don't watch a lot of comedies, but I think
this is not typical. So it's comedy, but it's really good. Check it out. I think you can watch it for free on Prime or something like that. Yeah, The Men Who Stare at Goats.
It depends where you live.
That's true. That's true.
I've been bitching with Loki about this a lot because we talk, or in Chauncey too, but I don't know about there, but in Canada, there's so many subscriptions now. Like you subscribe to say like Prime, then you have to and it says the movie's here, and you go there, and then it's
it's Paramount
to this, and then there's another subscription, and then finally suddenly you're paying like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, Tubi and Luby and Vubi and
Yeah, everything.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, here there's like Stars is a big one. It's like you go into Prime, for instance, and it's like, oh, watch this now. It's like you have to subscribe to Stars.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then I'm talking to Loki the other day, and he's like, no, I just play it and watch it. It's like, no, here I got to pay again.
Yeah.
So you got to pay for a subscription, then you got to pay for a subscription.
Yeah. Has Dagon seen the BBC TV show Out of the Unknown? BFI released a set of the surviving episodes. You ever heard about that?
I saw that comment. I don't know that show.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it either. I do like some BBC. I've recently been watching Ludwig with my folks with David Mitchell. You know who David Mitchell is from Mitchell and Webb?
I
Show.
do.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And I watched the first couple episodes of Ludwig. It's really good. I'm a big fan of Peep Show. When I first that was a brilliant show when it came out, and of course Mitchell and Webb too.
They did a whole bunch of shows, like
3
or 4 at least, I think. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Detectorists or Detectorists? That's probably my favorite British show. It's a 30-minute comedy, not a situation comedy, but a comedy. It's written and directed by Mackenzie Crook. He was, and then Toby Jones is in it, who played Truman Capote in a movie or whatever. But Mackenzie Crook he was on the British Office. He played the Dwight Schrute character, kind of on the British Office. He's kind of a googly-eyed, skinny guy. But it's about these two guys in kind of rural England who are metal detectorists. And I think that's free on Prime. I don't know about where but check that out. It's just there's nothing heavy in the whole. It's just a lovely, lovely show, and I recommend it to everybody when it comes into mind. It's really, really good. Okay.
You know that other guy? What was I going to say here quickly? Is it David Mitchell's the kind of? He's not the skinny guy.
No, he has the darker hair. He's actually a historian. He's written books on, I think, I don't know, Henry V or whatever.
I've seen that guy on talk shows and British talk shows and things like that. Like he just rips people apart. The guy is like wicked smart.
Wicked smart. He is.
He's just like when he's just like he'll just tear into someone about if they're being silly at all, like kind of the wax type thing. He'll just like can attack.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy. Another one that I like, Fluffy brought it up. Not Fluffy, or who was it? Sorry, Fluffy. It was Loki. It was Look Around You. That's another cool one to watch. It's
is that a movie or a show?
It's a TV show. It's a British show. There's 2 seasons. There's one of them is more like a documentary style science show. And the other one's more of like a sort of a 60s science for everybody type thing, but it's hilarious. There's I think Raji mentioned Medibot. They have this robot on the show that'll like do plastic surgery and it does it all for you. You just press the button, and so they do it on one of the co-hosts, and the guy comes on and it's just like horrific, right? He's like missing things, and he's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's Peter, I always get his name wrong. Peter Serafinowicz or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know that name. I probably recognize him.
You
ever see you like Ricky Gervais?
Not really.
Not really. Check out Afterlife. It's a comedy, but it's very powerful. It's basically him going through the death of his wife. It's his life after she's died, and it is really powerful and really, really good. Just very thoughtful, but yet funny and crude. And Afterlife is a good one. His other one, Derek, where he plays kind of a mentally handicapped guy, is really good too. That lives in a retirement facility.
Sounds like Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, right. Oh, here we go. Afterlife, another great one. Yeah, it is. It's so good, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I don't watch a lot of stuff, but if it's good,
in the week, I kind of have this routine in the evenings before, about an hour before I go to bed. We have a my wife and I have a little love seat in our bedroom, and we sit down and watch a show or the first 15 minutes of a movie or something like that, and before we fade out, and so we come across stuff like that. But anyway, well, let's see. We've been going about an hour and a half. How are you? Yeah, time flies when you're having good talks. It's been great.
Well, I hope I didn't monopolize I did monopolize your whole show. But
you're my guest, John. I wanted you to. I wanted to hear about it. I'm sure we could talk about a lot more too. I wanted to. Do you have any other records you want to show at all?
I got stuff, but it's nothing exciting.
Okay.
Not really.
Before we go, I want to say I was kind of proud to finish this 74 set. I kind of want to show it. There are these 4 records from 74, and I had 2 of them, and I came across 2 more. And to get them in the wild is a little bit difficult. And they're not. I got these for cheap, but when you want to buy them online, they're not cheap. They're can be $40 or $50 depending on the condition. Oh, but there's this set, and there might be a few more, but these were the big ones. That there's Bert, and then the one that I think is worth the most is got seam split at the bottom of that one. And one of them, the Big Bird is cracked. I need to get another one of it, but Rover Sings the Blues. Anyway, that was
what's on the Bert and Ernie one?
Let's see.
I used to like the song. I only mention it because there's a song when Bert or Ernie's singing about things that are the L word.
Well, it's got Rubber Ducky for sure. Oh yeah. La la la.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Ernie presents the letter A.
And then Bert doesn't quite get the gist of it, so he keeps going like la 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 lemon.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's both.
Or he goes like this big crescendo is like la 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 linoleum. No, you're not doing it right.
I want to hold your ear, high, middle, low, pat, pat, patty, pat, clink, clank. Yeah. Ernie presents the letter U. Ernie's drum.
So those are 45s?
Not 45s. They're 74s from 74. That's why I have them, or else I wouldn't have gone for them.
No, I just, my brain's not working.
Yeah. Anyway, well, John,
I would have bought those, and
you don't collect 74s, right?
I stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, it's great to hang out with you, John, and I'll as the weather gets better, maybe we'll work out a hangout when I come up. You can hang out for the afternoon or something, get some lunch.
Yeah, like even if it's a weekday, not saying that it will be, but my schedule is, like I said, like you
make your own schedule, kind of.
I talk to my boss like once every month, maybe. So I can duck out here and there, or like half a day or whatever. Like, just give me a shout on Discord or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely keep touch there, and that's kind of like a daily thing that I really like to. I don't have a lot to say, but it's good to see. I go back at least once in the evenings and kind of review the conversations, and if I have anything to include or maybe something I'm spinning, it's good to stay close to my friends there and hear what's happening in people's lives and where they're going and what they're seeing. So anyway, thanks so much, John, for being here, and I'm glad we got to hang out, and I'll
be back.
We'll do it again someday. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
See you.